Okay, in this lesson we'll be looking at Excel Chapter 2A. So let's start by starting Excel. And then let's go to Open Other Workbooks. And we're going to go to Computer. We're going to go wherever we were storing those files earlier. We're going to go to Browse. So I had mine stored under my hack folder right here. I'm going to go to Excel Chapter 2, Student Data Files. And we're going to grab 2A inventory and we're going to open that file up. And we want to immediately go and save that. So we're going to go to File, Save As, and we want to save it to a location we can save it to. So I can either go to my homework folder here. Okay, and must have been a bad link there. Let's go to Documents, go down to Homework, and we're going to create a new folder called Excel Chapter 2, which we will open, and then we will call this last name, first name, and we're going to hit save. Okay. All right. The first thing we want to do is we want to go ahead and create two new columns. So let's go ahead and select column C and D, and we're going to insert. Okay. Again, make sure you're selecting the whole column and not just the area down here. So we can either right-click and hit insert, or we can come to here and hit insert sheet rows. Either way, sheet columns. Either way. Okay, so that's what we want to go ahead and do. Now, go ahead and put your cursor over here in C11 and type in 13129. And then we're going to go to here, put your cursor back on C11, go to Fill in the editing group, Fill and Flash Fill. You can see that it fills in all the text over here. We're basically taking this column and splitting it. So then we put our cursor over here, type in Oak, use the fill, hit Enter, and we're going to fill, Flash Fill. Okay, you can see it fills in the category. Type in item number. Okay, so we have basically two split categories. Let's go ahead and get rid of this column here by right-clicking on selecting column, right-clicking, and deleting. All right, you can see that the column is gone. We're now going to select. We also take this column here and move it all the way to the end by selecting the entire column. Put our cursor right at the end. You can see how the cursor changes. We're going to hold our mouse button down and drag it all the way to the end. See how you can see it moving? Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and get rid of this column. Okay. Now, you can also see here that the column sizes are a little wrong. Okay, so what I want you to do is I want you to go ahead and put your cursor here to select everything. That selects the entire sheet, and then put your cursor right between the middle here. If you put your cursor in the middle of any of these two rows or columns, and double click, it auto fits it for you. It basically takes every one of the columns and fits it to the exact right size. All right, let's go ahead and save what we've done, and moving right along. All right, put your cursor in B4, and we're going to use the sum function, which you can find in a couple of different places. But here, the book stuff talks about going to formula, it talks about using the auto sum. It's really no difference no matter what you do. So go ahead and hit the sum. In the past, when we used the sum function, we actually chose we put our cursor underneath, or we were a cell underneath of a range of cells. In this situation, we're not. We're actually the way we fix that is we select our range. Okay, we want this range A11. You can either select all the way down, hold your mouse, and select down to here, or you can type it in. It really doesn't make a big difference either way. You can type it in, or you can select it. So that's how you use the sum function. All right. The next function we'll look at is the average price. So we would go to More Functions, Statistical, and go to Average. Okay, and this little box pops up. And again, this is looking for a range. All we want here is a range. Okay, well, the range we want to give it is D11 all the way down to D39. Again, you can type it or you can drag it, whichever you find easier. That's essentially how you do the average price. Okay, moving on down to B6. B6 works the exact same way. And the book also talks about what the difference is between average and median, which you are more than welcome to read. But for this part of the lesson, what we're doing is the way you apply the median for a range is to come to here, select median, and again, it's exactly the same process. I select my range. I can even type it in D11 to D39, D 39. Okay, and that's how that works. All right, so that's how you average the median. Next, let's talk about the lowest price. To get the lowest price, we go back to my more functions, back to statistical, and come down here and select min or minimum. And again, the process works exactly like average and median works. We select a range, D11 to D39, and there you go. And then we hit OK. All right. Highest price, if the lowest is min, the highest will be max for maximum. All right, so D11, D39, and that's how that works. Oh, did I? Let's try that again. Nope, it's because I didn't put my D in here. You actually, by the way, you can do that. By the way, if you put it in correctly, you can actually go into the formula like as I'm doing right now and correct it. D39. And that's how you fill in the average, the medium, the minimum, and the maximum. Okay. All right. Page 376. Moving data as well as receiving the pound signs. We want to go ahead and move this information over here. So we go ahead and select this, all of this, the range we want to move. Put a cursor on the outside, just like moving a column. You see how the cursor changes, and we want to drag it over to here. All right. Now the book talks about if this happens, if you should happen to see this. See how that looks? People oftentimes see that and think that these pound signs mean there's an error. It doesn't mean that at all. It just means that the column is not wide enough to hold all the text. So what you would do here is you would double click and maximize both of these so that it fits in the entire column. Okay, and that's how you move it, and that's how you would deal with that error message. Okay, go ahead and put your cursor over in C6, and in C6 let's type in tree statistics. Okay, and we want to go ahead and create one big cell here. So we want to go ahead and select C4 down to C8. Go back to the Home tab, and we're going to merge and center, creating one big cell. Okay. All right. Now we also want to go ahead and rotate the text. So what we would do is, with that selected, go to the alignment function here. On the far right side, you see what says text here? You can either arrow up or type in 30. Not 230, 30. That'll actually rotate the text. Okay, this I kind of see this. Well, this would be a pretty useful function if you wanted to create one of those sheets you see for like yard sales, because you can turn the text. Okay. Besides that, we also want to center it, and we want to middle align it and right align it, as well as adding bold, italic, and changing the color of the text as well. All right. Now, before we move on, let's go ahead and we need to create a little space for what we're going to do here in a moment. So go ahead and select all of row 9. We're going to go ahead and right-click on that row and hit Insert. We want to repeat the process 2 times. So if you click F4 or Function 4 on your keyboard 2 times, it actually creates the rows. Okay, page 370, using the count and the COUNTIF functions. All right, so go ahead and put your cursor in A10. In A10, we want to go ahead and type in oak trees, and then tab over to B10. And this part, we want to use a function to look at this category and tell me how many of these are oak. So if you go to the formula and you go to more functions and go to statistical and select COUNTIF, which is down here, COUNTIF, all right. The first thing I ask for is the range. We're going to go ahead and select the range of G14 all the way down to G42. Okay, you should notice, by the way, that now our range has changed. You also notice that if you look up at the sum functions and all the other functions, they all adjusted along accordingly. So the first one is the range. The second one is going to be the criteria, which in this situation is oak. Right, we tab down and we see we get 13, and we hit OK, and we have the number 13. Okay. Let's go ahead and left align that. All right, that's how you use the COUNTIF functions. All right, page 379, using the if function. Go ahead and put your cursor over here in H13 and type the word stock level and hit enter to bring your cursor down to here. And from the stock level, we want to go ahead and go back to the formula. What we're going to do here is we're going to put a formula here that looks at this number and tells us if it's under a certain value, which you'll understand in a moment. So go back to the formulas function, go back to logical this time, actually go to logical this time, and select if. If you're in any programming, you'll recognize what an if statement is, okay? Okay, the logical test is if A14 is less than 75, which is not, okay, then order. If not, okay. And you can see that it is okay. So that is, it is, so that's what if A14 is less than 75, order. If not, okay. We hit okay, all right, and we can just use the fill handle and drag it on down, and that's how the if function works. Okay. Turning over to page 380, applying conditional formatting. Now, we still have this range selected of H14 down to H42. So go up to the Home tab and select Conditional Formatting, which is over here in the Styles group. In the Styles, let's go to the Highlight Cell Rules and select Equal to. What this essentially is going to do is this is going to highlight anything that we tell any cells that meet our criteria. And for this situation, the criteria is going to be order. Order. Now you'll notice as soon as I type order, the cells automatically change because it has some criteria. Now we want to change this a little bit by dropping this down and selecting Custom Format. Okay, we're going to select Bold Italic, and we're going to change the color to Green Accent 6, which I believe is the end one here. And then go ahead and hit OK. And hit OK again. You can see that now these cells, the cells that have order in it, change. Okay, so that's essentially how that works. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're going to come over here and select A14 all the way down to A42. Okay, A42. And let's go back to the conditional formatting. This time we're going to use data bars. Let's go to data bars and select any one of these, really. You can really select any one of these. For the lesson, we're going to choose orange data bar, but you can select any one of them for your own knowledge. And you can see what it does. Essentially, it gives you a visual look at the levels we have here. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and save what we have. Okay, over on page 381, use the find and replace. The find and replace is a little bit different in Excel because you have to actually select a range. So what I want you to do is we're going to select G42, 14 down to G42. Okay. And then on the far right side of the Home tab, we're going to select Replace. And we're going to replace erosion with erosion control. Erosion with erosion control. So we've got to verify that it looks the same. And we want to hit Replace All. And we should get a message that tells us that we made 13 replacements. Erosion with erosion control. Okay, and that's how you use the replace function. All right, page 382, using the now function. Go ahead and put your cursor down in A4. In A4, I want you to go ahead and type in edited by Maria Acuna, and then hit enter to bring you down to a cell below it, and go back to the formula tab, and go back to the date and time and select now. Now what that means, by the way, is that every time you open this up, it'll have the now function. Here all you do is hit OK. Okay, this is now. You can see what time it is here. You can see the date and the time. It's 10:14, 8:22 on 10:14. Okay, and that's how you would use that. All right, the next part of the lesson talks about freezing and unfreezing panes. What this is really used for is this is for used for viewing information. All right, you can see in this spreadsheet here we have quite a few lines. Okay, so let's say you wanted to see everything here. So we would put our cursor right here and go to the View tab, and we would select Freeze Panes and hit Freeze Panes. Now what that does, it allows me to then come down here. Oh, let's try this again. Unfreeze pane. Let's try go a row up here. And go to, oh, I'm sorry, let's go here. One row under. I put too long. Hit Freeze Panes. Now we put our cursor down here. We can now, the top row stays and the bottom row changes. Okay, this is really good, by the way. When I look at your grades in the semester, this is a really good tool for me because I can have the names over here, and I can just scroll to the right without actually still losing your name. So it helps me enter your grades. All right, to unfreeze it again, as you saw me do a moment ago, freeze panes, unfreeze panes. Okay, and that basically now we're back to normal. Okay, page 383, creating an Excel table and applying a cell style. What a table basically means is it means you're creating a sortable table. So put your cursor anywhere down in this part of the table. Go up to Insert and select Table. Okay, it's going to the questions here. Make sure my table has headers. We know it does. What that does is it makes this row here sortable. So we see the range. We hit OK, and now we have a sortable table. All right, excellent. All right, now you'll notice here that the first thing we want to do is give it a style. So we're going to go up to where we have the table tools design. Let's go ahead and drop this guy down. And the book is looking for us to select light 16, table style 16, which I believe is, right, roll one more. Light table style 16. Okay, that's a style. Okay, which something as I always say, styles and templates are things that you can do yourself, but it just kind of makes it a little bit easier for you. All right. Now you'll notice that we have these little areas. You can actually sort with these things. For instance, let's go to retail price, as the book says, and sort smallest to largest. Okay, now it's supported sorted largest to smallest. Okay. We can also sort by category here. Let's go to the category level, and let's sort A to Z. Okay, now we sorted by A to Z, and that's basically how you sort. So let's go to sort here and go Z to A. All right, and that's how you would use this to sort. All right. Okay. Moving on, filtering in a table and displaying a total row. All right, let's go to the category aisle. If you go to back to the category and you see how this is all these options checked, go ahead and click on select all. That will actually unselect everything. And then what I want you to do is I want you to go ahead and select Maple here and click OK. Now what that's done here is just filter out everything that's basically Maple at this point here. Everything that's essentially Maple. Everything you can see how everything is Maple. Okay, it's only showing us the maple. So let's go back up to A11. Let's type in maple trees. Okay. Now there's one other little part of the process. Go back to here and go back to the Table Tools Design tab. And right here in the table style options, hit total. Okay. All right, now you see we now have a new row here, total row. Okay. Let's go to this row and let's go ahead and drop this down here. And you can see we have a number of options. We can average, we get the average, the count, the number. We're going to hit sum up the number of trees we have. All right, so we're going to hit this. All right, and we see 571. So we have 6 with 571. So we click up here, and we want to put 6, 571 total items in stock. All right, excellent, hit enter. Now we want to clear this, so let's go back to here and let's hit clear filter, category filter. Okay, and let's go to back to landscape use and go ahead and uncheck this and select erosion control. All right. All right, and from here, let's go ahead and select from category. Let's go ahead and select oak. What this is showing you is you can do multiple options, multiple filtering. This shows you everything that's erosion control and filter. All right. All right. Let's go ahead and clear both category filters. And let's go to item number and make this smallest to largest. Okay, and that's how that works. Okay, the next thing we do is we're going to talk about converting to range. And what that basically means is taking it back to a normal table. Okay, but the first thing we do is we want to go ahead and uncheck total row so that it goes away. And then we're going to go over to here and hit convert to range. And again, all that basically does, guys, is it takes it to a normal, so you get rid of all this, makes all the columns not sortable. All right, and hit yes. And we now have a sortable table. Okay, page 387, activity 218, modifying and shrinking worksheet view. Go ahead and hit Control Home. Okay, bring you back to the beginning. And let's go to the View tab. And let's go ahead and find Zoom. And we're going to change it to 75%. This basically lets you look at it in a different way. Okay, and that's how you would change the views. Go ahead and click on the 100%. That's how you would change the zoom view. All right, next part of the lesson talks about using the split window, which really isn't a whole lot different than the freeze window. Put your cursor, you can put your cursor on cell F9, and you can hit split. Okay, you can see basically allows you, it's kind of the same thing as the freeze pane. It allows you to look at each individual region a little bit differently. And again, that's what the split does. You can also uncheck that to turn it off. Okay, let's go to the page layout tab, and let's go ahead and change the theme to slice. Again, themes are preset colors and sets. Okay, let's go ahead and let's grab this top row here, A13 over to H13, and we're going to go ahead and back to our home tab, and we're going to center all of those guys, and we're going to give it cell heading, cell style heading 4 for looks. Okay. Let's also go back to the page layout again. Let's go to margins. We've all done this already, custom margins, and let's center on page horizontally. Okay. We're also going to give it a header and a footer. So let's go back to our insert. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's go back to page layout. This is a different way of doing it. Page layout, margins, and then let's go to header and footer, and let's go to custom footer. From here, we can go ahead and select insert file name and hit OK. And OK. If you do hit a Control F2, gives your print preview. You can see this down here. You also notice, by the way, that if you click over, that you don't see, it doesn't quite work. So we're going to make it look a little bit better. So let's go back to here, and let's go on the front from the print layout tab. Let's hit print titles. What we're going to do here, we're going to basically make it so this row shows up on all pages. Okay, so hit print titles, and we want the rows to repeat at top. So we would come down to here and select this. Select this, and then we would pick row 13. Hit enter on your keyboard, and click OK. Now we hit Control F2. This row will repeat at the top, no matter what, when we change it. Okay. Finally, what we do is we want to make it so everything fits in one page. And there's a couple ways of doing it. One way is to go to File and go to Print, and see where it says No Scaling here. Change this and change to fit on one page. What this will basically do, it basically shrinks all the text down so that it fits on one page. You can see how that works. All right, and that's the way that works. You can see now that now we have one page. Okay. Over here, let's go ahead and go to the Info tab. Let's go ahead and hit Show All Properties. And for tags, we're going to go ahead and add the tag of tree inventory Pasadena. Okay, subject obviously would be CIS 105. And that's it. All right, guys, that brings us to the end of lesson 2A.